should talk about health issues more. Just got started. True, it is true. Because one thing is for sure, as men, a lot of the time we have to be so strong, and there are many reasons we're gonna talk about today. And a lot of the time, we as men, we just, for some reasons, we don't want to focus on our health. But first, to get started, I want to start light. And who can we focus on? Like, let's say a man. Yeah, I'm sure at this point everybody know who is Donald Trump. And if you don't know who Donald Trump is, I don't get why would you not know who Donald Trump is? But after this, I think it's something that just happened recently. That shows that Donald Trump is a real G, a real bad man, as you would say, Samji. He's a real bad man, Donald Trump. Because one thing that happens is just that Donald Trump, first, yeah, he's a real bad man. The first president ever that I've seen done this. I don't know if you guys have seen any other president that does this, but again, so just I yesterday it happened. I just yesterday it happened. Donald Trump, he was visiting this Ford. The Ford is like a car manufacturing company or plant. So he was visiting, and then someone was calling him a pedo. There's no, I can play it, but there's no, you cannot hear the voice of the person though who's saying it. You can only see. So basically, someone called him a pedo, and then he looked at this person. He said, "Go." He said, "Look at the person and say F you." Like seriously, the first person I've seen this. That's why I say he's a real bad man, and he don't give a damn. He just look at this person. He said F you, and guess what? What else did he do? He went even further by sticking up the his little middle finger. Like it was so hilarious. The first time this happened yesterday, the first time that I've ever seen a president does this. I don't know. How do you guys feel? What do you guys think about this? Because I mean, a lot of people don't want to like to talk about politics. It's not about the politic part. It's about that someone called him a pedo, and then he got and his, I don't know, his feelings or whatever, but he just didn't like it so much, and he stick the middle finger up. Well, first he tell the person F you, and then he stick the middle finger up to that person. A real bad man. Yeah, like, for me, I don't know about the pedo part is because of the Jeffrey Weinstein situation. I think that's the name. Jeffrey Weinstein situation with the no, Jeffrey Epstein. Epstein. So a lot of yeah, the Epstein with the island when he used to bring young people to that. Well, you guys know the situation, right? When they had pictures of him and many other powerful people who were just basically messing around with kids. So Epstein, yeah, exactly, with the E. So that's why some people were calling him, a pedo, because I mean the pictures are there. But one thing is for sure I don't understand is that how come that nothing is happening to these people? Like nothing is happening. There was the Epstein file that came out, but nothing is still happening to these people. It's like, they are impervious to, they are unable to be touched. So that's yeah, but that's something that happened. But one thing is for sure, Donald Trump doesn't give a F. So that's an interesting thing in itself. Um, so let's see. How come this is saying that? Oh wait, let me check something quick, y'all. You just too good to be true. Can't take my eyes off of you. I wanna hold you so much. I love you, baby. All right, I think that should be. It's gonna be fine. Guys, can you keep the like and the engagement up as please, I would appreciate it. So, okay, that was about Donald Trump. So like and follow, guys, and thank you. So let's get down to the topic, because this is a very important topic and is widely observed. Is a big issue. And the reason why it's a big issue is because the reluctance of many men to discuss or to talk about their health challenges is not just a single situation, because a lot of the time some people just want to make it as a single issue or a single reason why men do this, but it's not a single reason. But today we're going to expose the different reasons why men would do this, but more importantly, because let me put it like this, all of you, thank you, Peaceful, if all of you have a man in your life, or if you don't have a man in your life, find yourself a man. But even if you don't have a man in your life, you have your father, maybe your brother or cousin, or someone that's your coworker, or someone that is close in your circle. So, or you could have an offspring, a child that is also a man. So it is clear to understand, because a lot of the time we understand the woman's perspective, but when it comes to health, this is something that could be seen as taboo or a very delicate situation for men to talk about. And a lot of the time we wait, and I'm gonna show you guys why is that. And a lot of time we wait, and as men we wait, and there's a lot of reasons, a lot of things that happen. But this topic was brought up. I know it's not men health month, but we don't have to talk about men health only on Men's Health Month. We can talk about it every time, because I talk about different situation that affects all of us. So men's health, women's health, that affects all of us. And perhaps in this conversation, you can also, these reasons are not only exclusive to men themselves, but although this topic or this today is only about men's health, but again, you can have a child that is a male, but again, so it is more to bring awareness, so we can understand the social and the psychological and the cultural factors that are influencing the situation that we are having, this problem. And this problem was brought up and started on the from someone called Chris Hoy. I don't know anyone who's from the UK. Probably you've heard of Chris Roy, and maybe he's a cyclist, and he's basically a 6-time Olympic cyclist champion, and he's talking about it. So if you haven't heard of him, it's no problem. But you're gonna hear what he has to say about this situation here. And yes, you heard of him? Okay,
I think it's our responsibility to lead by example.
You've got a history of cancer in your family. Did you ever talk with your mates? And I know you would have spoken about mental health, because that was, you were an Olympic champion. You would have focused on that and physical health. But I'm talking about the other physical health.
I think you were very aware of your physical fitness. You were aware of your physical performance on the bike and the data behind that.
That's true, because as men, we are very focused on our physical fitness, because you'll most likely see a man that is fit, focus on our muscle and focus on our exterior. But when it comes to our interior, the things that we cannot see, it's mostly neglected. It's mostly that we don't pay attention to it, and for a lot of reasons we're gonna also talk about. But just a small intro with him.
How you felt in terms of recovery from training sessions or races, but actually, I think it wasn't something we talked about. And not because there was a stigma attached to it necessarily. It's just it probably wasn't even on our radar. When you're young and you're fit and you're healthy, you assume that you're immune to any of that, and you think, well, that's for further down the line. That's when you're 50, that's when you start thinking about prostate cancer checking, and that's when even with family history. So I had my grandpa and my dad, but actually I should have been thinking about it sooner. So it's this is why it's so important for us to be talking about it, to say for everybody, whether it's prostate cancer or any kind of health. I think it's so important.
True.
Like myself.
True. This is why we need to talk about it, because it's not only about prostate cancer. Because I do understand you said prostate cancer is on the increase, it's rising, but it's not only. We're gonna also talk about some other things that are not only prostate cancer, but prostate cancer is one thing. Imagine when it comes to the whole health situation of men, a lot of the time we tend to think about only prostate cancer. But let's imagine further. Imagine your life as a man, you are dealing with socialization on the masculine norm, which keep us in the male box. Because as men, there are certain norms, just like as you for women. But again, as men, there are certain norms or certain level of expectation when it comes to masculinity and what masculinity should be about. And this is the most significant factor. So let's say, for example, a young man, we are socialized, we are trained in a specific way when it comes to our masculinity that can be very much limiting ourselves towards, you know, taking better care of ourselves or looking after ourselves in these areas. And so more of limiting beliefs, like, for example, strength and stoicism. Stoicism is more like, you know, you have to be always be strong. For example, you have to be always, you know, in control of yourself and in control in general, and not allow your emotion to be rule, or not allowing your emotion to rule you, but in the other way around, to rule your emotions. So men are taught to be tough, endure pain, and be, you know, to just basically suck it up. Even when you are as a young man, when you just have your bicycle, or you are training, or you are playing football, or whatever sport that you are doing, or physical activity you are doing, there comes a point where you might fall. There comes a point that you might have you might get a cut, and automatically you would be hearing that, you know, man up, or basically if you're gonna make a frown, or if you're gonna, you know, gonna be close to crying, you're gonna hear, don't cry, or, you know, just be strong. So inherently, we just from a very small age, a very, you know, impressionable age, we are being taught to be strong, basically to ignore our feelings, to ignore the things that we are going through. And all in all, that's not really a much of a bad thing, but it always have a negative aspect to it, because acknowledging illness and vulnerability is seen as weakness for a lot of us as men. And we're gonna learn how to also reframe it, because we crave for self-reliance as a man, because the idea of handling your things or handling situation yourself as a man gives you a power of a power of feel that you are independent, that you are a success. But when you, on the other hand, when you are seeking for help, it may also frame it or make other people see you as you are someone who's needy, or you are someone who basically is a failure, or you are not independent as a man. So it really lowers your rank in the manhood hierarchy. And so that's somehow that you can be perceived. Thank you, Sam. Appreciate it. So because as men, just like as women, you guys, we all have a different expectation or different role in life. This is one thing that is that is true. A lot of the time, some people can have we can have a disagreement towards it, or disagreement to why we have no social or cultural norms. But the fact of the matter is, our biology even said it. But we're looking at this again from a social situation at this point. So socialization of the male masculinity is being socialized. So make it in a sense what the society really want us to be. Okay, so now because of this, we have the provider role in society. Men are often conditioned to see their primary value and their ability is to their work and to be a provider. And that doesn't stop there, because when it comes to this situation, when we are with this mindset, or this hat that we put on, which is, we have to constantly be working and we have to be providers, which is a good thing, which is what is necessary for society to function, which is very much a good thing. But also, just like it's a good thing, but also there are other part of it that can be, not so useful, or can be a weakness for society itself, or for men in general. So health issues are a threat to that identity of being to work and to provide. And so men deny it a lot of the time, or they minimize threats or situations that are affecting their health, and they try to avoid that threat in order, again, to be seen as strong and to be not vulnerable. So what this turned out to be is that men suffer from emotional restriction. And again, even from a very young age, as men, we are always being taught to be stoic, and basically to hold our emotion, to control our emotion, than rather letting our emotion control us, which also can be a good thing, because if we are not allowing ourselves to control our emotions. Our emotions can help us, but it can also destroy us at times, especially the ones that we don't need. And sometimes emotion can run so strong, so hard, and if we don't learn how to control them, it can, you know, basically destroy our own family. So men suffer from emotional restriction. So discussing fear or concerns about health requires emotional vocabulary and vulnerability. As men, a lot of us, we don't have the emotional vocabulary or the understanding or the words that we need to know in order to have a conversation when it comes to our health. And how can we have this conversation as well? What are we supposed to say? And how are we gonna say what we want to say without appearing to be, vulnerable or weak? So, which means many men are actively discouraged from developing this vocabulary of communicating their vulnerability. So, because they have to be strong and they have to be stoic at all times. So they don't want to, as men, we don't want to risk being weak. We don't want to risk being seen as weak or being incapable or being, not resilient. So now with this, we have a situation where we develop a fear or a denial factor. So the fear of diagnose. I do understand a lot of us, we can have a fear of not knowing what could happen, or we're not knowing what could happen, or the unknown is also a fear. And what is it? So when we don't know what could happen, that's also a fear. So there are common mindset of what you don't know can't hurt you. So can you explain benefit of semen retention? Well, you don't get a baby, or you don't. That's one benefit of it. Well, it's like you maintain your life force. That's another thing. And you don't get your area, I don't know, like you don't get your things dirty. It depends. Why do you wanna do semen retention? There's a lot of benefits, but again, I would say, well, you don't get a baby if you're not ready or plan for it, and at the same time, you don't you maintain your life force. So also is to understand that the common mindset of what I don't know can't hurt me is a mindset we tend to a lot of the time have. Talking about a symptom might lead to a serious diagnosis, which is terrifying, because a lot of the time being silenced feels more safer, because once you know a certain health situation that you are dealing with, or certain health situation that you might be threatening your life, then okay, that's one thing that you feel more safer than not. You feel more safer not knowing, because knowing can cause a lot of more mental or emotional heaviness. So our mortality and vulnerability are questioned as well, because let's say, for example, we don't like to feel vulnerable. One of our worst nightmare as men, you ladies could know, one of our worst nightmare as men is the day that someone is gonna put, I don't think at this point they do this as much anymore, but the day that someone is gonna put a finger in our behind, that's one of our worst nightmare. But if you are probably a guy who likes men, probably it's not a nightmare for you. Probably you say not one finger, you can put the entire hand. But for us as men, most of us, we can't imagine, or we don't really want to go through that situation where fingers are gonna go in our exit hole. So unless you like men and yeah. So it's situation, I don't know, let me see. You said to increase my testosterone. If you want to increase your testosterone, you want to lift weights, not only holding your semen. So why do you want to increase your testosterone in the first place? I do understand this. I mean, I do know testosterone is like the male hormones. It's like, but yeah, you guys are focused so much in testosterone. Then what's the reason why you want to increase your testosterone? I'm not saying not to increase it, but Why? And holding semen retention is not the only way to increase your testosterone. So health issues. So again, we as men, our worst nightmare is to not get, um, I think at this point is not a situation that is much, it's not a procedure that is, much practice, at least in the first world countries like in the West. But health issues are direct confrontation with our human fragility and mortality. As men, it is better to deny it because denying is a powerful psychological defense mechanism that we use. Because when we don't know, or what we don't know can't hurt us, or can't hurt us, and at the same time it doesn't distract us from the work that we have to do, and to be also the protector and the leader that we have to be, because we cannot stand to have any form of vulnerability in our ways, and focusing on our health as well, or just trying to find out what's wrong with our health, can be a psychological heaviness, or it can be a psychological and also an emotional heaviness that we don't want to carry at times. So we want to be, as men, we want to make our lives as simple as possible, sometimes even when it's not to our benefit, by not knowing what's truly going on with our health. So we will still do it. And because it may create fear of losing control. This is one of the things as well. As men, if we would go to the doctor and we're trying to find out what's wrong with us, we don't want to lose control. We don't want to be fearful that, okay, a diagnosis can mean that we lose control over our life. We don't want to lose control over our life, or lose control over our body, or our family, or our leadership and our future. So it is very much a terrifying prospect for anyone to have, because especially for those conditions such as men need to be in control. Because if you want to be in control as a man, you need to be able to you need to be capable, and you need to also be seen as strong, because no one wants to be led by someone, especially a man that is not strong. But now we also have to consider the practical and the systematic barriers that, a lot of the time some ladies might say, well, a man can just go to the doctors, they can go to the hospital, it's simple. Yes, it is. But the thing is, for ladies, you guys have more practice in the medical system, and going to see your doctor than us. And you can even think about the amount of time, if you know that when you were with your man, or the amount of time that you see probably your mom goes to the doctor, versus the amount of time that your father or your man will go to the doctor. A lot of the time you will think that, okay, well, it could be these reasons, but it could be that the man, we just fine, we're just not ill as well. And so you guys have more practice than us, and as men, we lack the practice. So men often have less experience navigating the health system, because from a young age, as for women, you guys often see the OBGYN regularly, which is the obstetrician and the gynecologist. So these are the medical doctors specialized in women's reproductive health. Because one thing is for sure, you ladies do really focus on understanding, or checking up in your reproduction health, because it's very valuable to know what's really going on with your body. And for us as men, is there a way to actually, we can check of the quality of our, of our semen, but is it something that we would practically do? Not really. And it's very unlikely that you would hear a man say, very, very unlikely that you will hear a man say, okay, I'm going to go to the doctor to check for to test my semen quality. Very, very, it wouldn't be something that even touch our mind, So for women, it creates a habit of checkups for you guys, where for men, we'll do a checkup in our prostate, but that's later in our 50s. That's the only thing that we really think about looking forward to. In our 50s, we probably get a mail in our that is shipped to our address that says, okay, now you turn 50, it's time to check your prostate. And this is also what we, the way that we've been trained to what to look forward to. So meaning even everything before the 50 years old, we don't really pay attention to as much. Isn't a lot of research been done only on young men, not so much on women? No, that's not the case. That's not the case. So, one thing is for sure is that a lot of the time some people would want to make us believe that, but okay, then how do you know? No, you tell me how you know, then I'll tell you how I know, because this is your statement. Plus, it's time. Okay, but then if you tell me, anyway. Plus, it's time to consume a hassle. Okay, one thing is for sure is to understand that, for us as men, when we have to wait, I can even think about, when we have to wait, when we have to consume our time, when it can be a hassle to see our doctors in many cases, because even the thinking about the inconvenience of making an appointment, or especially just taking some time off, or dealing with the bureaucracy, that can be seen from our point of view, that is very much unproductive, and at the same time is draining for us as men. So this is one of the reasons why we wouldn't go to our doctor, because we know it's gonna be time consuming, and it's gonna be a situation where it's very much unproductive. But also is that sometimes this situation, I've personally dealt with it. Poor patient with doctors. Sometimes some doctors, I remember I went to a doctor, and for some reason I was explaining my situation, and I don't know what was wrong with her, but that was the first time that she was consulting me. So I was talking about the situation, and then she was leading me on, meaning I'm explaining. She's not really listening to what I'm saying, but she's more leading to. She thought, but because what she was saying was not true, but she thought what I was saying was not. She knew what I was gonna say before I say it, and I was like, okay, wait. So many times during the conversation, I had to stop her and say, no, that's not what I'm gonna say. But sometimes that can be frustrating, to be honest. But again, I don't know what was going on with her, but normally with my normal doctor is not about a male or female thing, but because I have a female doctor, and she normally is just cool and just chill. But it was just a new person that I met the first time, so maybe she needs to get to know me, but or basically I don't know what was going on with her that day, because again my doctor is a female. So that was for me, if she was very much impatient to understand what's going on. And some men can see this, can feel down, basically they are talked down to, or they are being very dismissed by their doctors, not seeing it as something that is important. And sometimes I can feel very much discouraged, and to have a future engagement with their doctor. And we have the NHS in London. Okay. I'm somehow so. Oh, okay. Oh, you heard it somewhere. It was curious. I do understand what you mean when you don't feel heard. Yeah, it's frustrating. I understand what you mean, but let's say, for example, there are a lot of things. Different conditions. Let me see. What your answer was. A lot of research being done only on young men, not so much on women. I think I can talk about that maybe some other time, but I cannot see at this point, this is a very broad situation. I cannot say one side or the other. But what I can say is that when it comes to male or men and a woman body, there are different situations, there are different health struggles that we are dealing with. So it could be that for men, for example, when it comes to prostate, you know, you ladies don't have prostate, so there'll be more research done in prostate health. But for you ladies, it will be more on, you know, in your breasts, or what else? You know, more of your cervix and just your reproductive health. So a lot of things can be very much different. And to say, I think the only way to actually measure it is to know, okay, do they have a solution for each gender? It's not about the amount of, I mean, the amount of research can be uterus, yeah. The amount of research can be very much numerous, a lot, but what's really important is that what was their conclusion to their research, and basically what did they find? And based on what they found, is it a solution or is it a help that can, you know, remedy the situation? I think that's the most important thing. So it's very, I do understand what you mean, but it's a very broad statement, and it needs to be, you know, understood or tackled in a certain situation, because in all situations are not the same. It's frustrating when you don't feel heard, understood by your specialist. It is. And you know, a lot of the time, some guys also, what we tend to do is that we may also downplay symptoms when they you know, when they do go to their doctor. You know, they just basically say, oh, it's nothing, or it's just my wife is saying it's a big situation, or my girl is saying it, or my mom, or you know, or my brother, or it can be anybody that says, they try to downplay it, basically say, oh well, it's not a big issue, you don't have to worry about it. And you know, while it's not, as when you go to the doctor, it's not for you to downplay it, it's more about is more that you would talk to your doctor and let the doctor make the decision if it's gonna be a severe situation or not so severe. But also, most importantly, is that only you know how you're feeling, is only you know what you're going through. So which means it's not about downplaying it or even upplaying it, but it's just that you are being heard, that you are addressing the situation. And one thing is for sure is that men are not good with the social context and the lack of role model in our life. Because think about it, from a young age, we are socialized as men, we have to be strong, and we have been put in the man box. You really have to trust your own guts. That's true. You really have to trust your own guts. And we are socialized and be placed in the man box. So what tends to happen is that men have no script for the conversation that we need to have, when probably with also with our doctor, but with people around us. So men often lack example of other men in their lives about open discussion when it comes to health, because, or even talk about our fears. A lot of the time as men, we wouldn't talk about our fears, and or even about our doctor visit. Very unlikely as men we will talk about our doctor visit, unless the only time we will talk about these things is unless we have suffered a tremendous health challenge or tremendous health issue. Then we'll talk about it, but it would be still something that we just want to dismiss or minimize as well. We don't want to focus on it, because again, we don't want to be perceived as weak, or we don't want to be seen as, you know, incapable. They think they may have to be strong, they have to be a strong person. Exactly. So this is also the script. But again, we're gonna talk about how can a man talk about their health? How can we talk about the situation? Because again, one thing is for sure, whether we want to be strong is not, it has nothing to do with, you know, not being able to talk about our health, because it's our health is something that, you know, is a very key aspect to our livelihood, but it's the how we talk about it, or what we do and how do we address it. I think these are the most important things to understand, because it's not gonna be, not talking about it is not gonna go away. And we're gonna find out also what tends to happen when we don't talk about it or we try to ignore it, because when we ignore it, a lot of the time it turns out to be in a situation that's, you know, more dark. It brings situation that is more dire to our lives. So there's no cultural script of how to have this conversation until today, until this live stream. And some men are lazy. Yeah, exactly. Some men are lazy, to be honest. True. Men we men sometimes we face isolation. Unlike some women, we have who have social circles where health is talked more or normalized. For women, you guys a lot of the time, or not every time, but for most women, you guys can, have your circle. You can talk about your health, and I don't know. I think there's a situation where I have a very productive mother. They want someone to book that appointment for them. Yeah, some men do want someone to book that appointment for them. And yeah, because yeah, they want a plausible deniability situation that I'm not the one that's doing it, so they are still being seen as strong in some way to be able to talk about your health. Yeah. So wait, what do you mean? You have a very productive mother, so your mother, you do talk about your health, or you don't, because she's very productive. Which one? And for women, you guys are socialized to, yeah. Oh, you talk about it more. Yes, you need to. Okay, socialized to to talk about these things. For men, a lot of the time we can be very isolated. So men's social interaction a lot of the time, when our social interaction often involve activities that revolve around our humor. We talk about humor, sport, politics, sex, or work. It's very unlikely we'll talk about our personal health. Very, very unlikely. I don't know if you think about, you ladies and everybody in the chat, if the guys, think about the amount of conversation that you have had with a man, being with a man. Have you ever talked to a man, or have you ever brought up his health situation to you? Yes or no? I don't know, he might say he's tired or headache, but yes. Okay, I have. Okay, what do they say then? And one thing is for sure is that the sad circumstances are, consequences are serious. The sad consequences are serious. He say it wasn't his problem. What do you mean? So you said yes, he wasn't. He say what's his? Oh, he said what his problem. Okay, they don't say anything. Yeah, they don't say anything. Okay, well, excuse me. He said what his problem? Okay, then that's good. That's good. Because again, this is not for all men, this is for some men. I think you probably the outlier, Chris. So let's say the silent contributes to worse health outcome known as the men health gap, which is a lot of the time the men health gap, which says on average men die 5 years earlier than women. That's on average. A lot of the time, sometimes some men will say like, well, it's their way of they're just tired of living. They're just tired of living, or they're just very much tired of this stress, or this amount of stress that they have to be dealing with as a leader, or to lead their lives, or just stress in general. But we're talking about here just the health aspect, which is the stress is also a big health aspect. So men have higher rate of death from leading causes such as heart diseases or cancer, or even when they unalive themselves. It's more likely. But sometimes, one thing is for sure is that when it comes to the unaliving of themselves, a lot of the time the statistic will say women attempt it more, but men make it happen the most. So that's the difference when it comes to unaliving. You would see the numbers would always say that, okay, the women do attempt it more, but men go through with it. They don't just attempt it, they do it. So men also suffer from later stage diagnosis of serious illnesses when they are harder to treat. So just like with this mindset of just wait for a situation, or just basically don't address the situation. So what tends to happen is, as men, when we just don't address the situation until we fall, until we faint, until a situation happen that is very big and we end up in the hospital. And while we're in the hospital, there are general checkup that is being done, and that's when we found out, a lot of the time we find out that we have a terminal issue, or we have a situation such as cancer, a situation such as heart diseases. So these are the last things. These are health challenges that we would face, but most importantly, that we would know that we have, and it will be too late, basically. So now I think the most important part is to how do we encourage change for men's health? How do you guys think that we can encourage change for men's health? Because again, whether you like men or not, men are gonna be in your life. So it can be your father, it can be your brother, it could be, it could be your son, for example. You never know. It could be your lover. I don't know. You're gonna have to deal with men. But again, try to demonize, or try to basically shut men up is not helpful. It's not helpful, because it's more what's good for the goose, and what's good for the goose is also good for the goosey. What's up? Why are you acting like this? Okay, I understand. It's good that you have a starter. It's good that you have a starter. Okay. So now, but also, you do know, when it comes to conversation, having a conversation with a man and having a conversation with a woman is very much different. It's just like they say, women tend to speak more words than men. So we have to honor our uniqueness first of all, because when we try to mesh everything together, it creates like we don't have polarity. We just like trying to make everything just the same. But there's a specific way or method. You will talk to a man to help him to understand, to not make him feel weak, to not make him feel like he's he's incapable, because you don't want to, if you're gonna do this and you're gonna make him feel weak or incapable, or basically all the things that he's the reason why he's not doing it, then it's not gonna be helpful, because at the end of the day, he's not gonna do it anyway. So we're trying to find a way that is smart, but at the same time that's effective, that's gonna give you the solution that you would want to. If you want to help the men in your life, if you have a son, or you happen to have a son, or you have a brother, or or father, or a man in your life that you care about, but how do you talk to him about the situation? Asking is difficult, especially since many men are taught not to talk about it to be strong. It's true, Emmanuel. Yes, that's true. Strong, true, but you have certain technique. Yeah, this is the technique I'm going to talk about. I'm a social worker, so in a way I know how to ask further. Okay, there's a certain technique. All right, guys, can we get to 5K likes, y'all? Just tap. So now, how to encourage change for men's health? Because again, we're gonna still be in you guys. We're still gonna be in you guys' life. So again, for ladies, the longer your man can live, the longer he can support you as well. The longer he can protect you as well. So try to see it as well as something that can benefit you. So it can motivate you to wanting to do it as well. Yeah. So let's reframe. The first thing is that we have to reframe our idea of strength as a starting point. So true strength, a lot of the time for us as men, we have to see true strength is about taking care of yourself and facing your problems head on. Because as men, we like to solve things. We like to face problems. We like to find solution to our problems. So we should shift our mindset, finding solution towards our health, towards what's going on inside of us is a strength. This is the shift of the mindset. So meaning ignoring your health, because as a leader or as a provider, you also want to be in position that's gonna help you to provide more effectively, but also that your body is really, with you, that it can give you the strength that you need in order to provide, in order to do the things that you need to do as a man. So it's more of a mental shift, because I'm going to talk about it even more of in a practical way as well, because protecting your health is a responsibility, is a responsible act as well for yourself and those who depend on you. Because if, as a man, if you're going to have people that are dependent on you, for whatever reason, they're going to be dependent on you. So it is your responsibility to make sure that these people are dependent on someone that is fully capable. And even if with this mindset, that should give you the fortitude, the intestinal fortitude, but also the confidence that this is something I want to handle. This is to take care of my health, is something I want to do regardless of anything along the way. So having your yearly checkup, even every 6-month checkup, to know for sure that you are ahead of things. So which means you are a good planner, and you are being very much responsible, because if people are going to be relying on you or dependent on you, how is it that you want to make sure that you're in the best physical health, or in also and also mental health? You want to make sure that you holistically in the best health possible that you can, so you can have that can give you a sort of peace of mind. And not finding out is not a situation, because if your car will be having a problem, then would you just be driving it just like that? You would want to find out what's going on with it, right? So if your body is your greatest resource as a man, with your body you do everything else. So it is better, it gives you strength. It's a strength that you carry yourself by taking your own initiative, by taking your own, making your own self, having your own self-respect as well, to go further and find out, okay, what's going on with my body. I want to know. And this is true strength. And also, a lot of the time for everybody else, you can always use role models. Just like, for example, in the very beginning of this live, I was talking about the role model, the British cyclist. He's a role model, because he was talking about this. And there's a lot of role models as well. Let's say, for example, in the basketball world, since I play basketball, there's LeBron James, and even in the football world, because since I play football, but there's a lot of different situations. Let's say LeBron James is one guy that is really top basketball player, worldwide known, and he spent over $1 million in his body yearly to make sure that he's taking care of his body. And even Cristiano Ronaldo spent a lot of money on his body to take care of his body. So this is the reason why these guys can perform to the highest level, and at the same time they have longevity. They can be strong, and they can perform to the highest peak, and they can make a lot of more money. So, and the people that are around them that are dependent on them, they have the security as well, because taking care of yourself as a man, looking after your health, give your woman or your family security in you, that okay, he's gives them a peace of mind as well. He's taking care of himself. He's really, you're showing to yourself, yeah, exactly, you're showing to even your sons, your daughters, okay, this is what dad did, or this is what dad is doing, so this is what I'm gonna be doing as well. And this is how we break the cycle of men just seeing it as weak, or not going to the doctor and trying to find out what's really going on with them. Because if you, as a man, if you have a son, and you wouldn't want, if you have a son and also daughter, your child, your kids, they're gonna look up to you, so you wouldn't want them to be going through a situation and they don't have the know-how, or the lack, the acting part, the taking action part of actually going to the doctor to actually find situations that are helpful for them. You would want your kids to, as men, to be a role model, and the only way that you can be a role model is by doing it, so they can model you. And so you can, again, for ladies, a lot of the time when you want to speak to this with your man, You know, if you're a woman, you can, even if you're a man, you can highlight athletes or celebrities or community figures who speak openly about their health struggles. It could be that the health struggles that they are going through, to make it seem like it's the norm. We talk about it if we are going through, and so he can also be open to talk to you about it. And and when it could be mental health or cancer, whichever situation that he's going through, not wait for the last situation, the last moment, and then he's gonna drop, and you're gonna, you know, as a man, you wait for the last minute, and then you drop the ball on your family. Okay, I have you know, that you got cancer, and this is the terminal cancer. There's, you know, you have a few months to live. That would be like, you know, it would be somewhat cruel. And possibly, you know, you could have find a solution probably in your family. You know, your family could have helped you or give you the support and the courage that you need, and they will be with you to help you to find a solution. But if, again, if you don't speak, then, you know, you're doing your family a disservice. And make it action oriented, because when you're talking to a man, for some men, when you're talking to them, try to make it action oriented, because we like to take action a lot of the time. For some men, approaching health as a maintenance mindset, you are simply maintaining your body, because, or you are optimizing your body from problems. You are optimizing your body by focusing your health issues, or focusing on improving your health or taking care of your health. You're optimizing your body, you're optimizing yourself. And because, like maintaining a car or even a computer, you know, or maintaining your home, maintaining everything, you know, you have to put some attention to it. And this is, your body is also the same. And, you know, when you frame it in the sense of action or maintenance, or in also optimization, it is more digestible in a way for men. So then also it becomes a conversation that doesn't seem so vulnerable. Is a conversation that seems like, okay, this is logical. Maintenance mindset, maintaining my body is a mindset. You know, it removes the vulnerability from the conversation, and it puts like more of the practicality of it into the conversation. And also, meaning, guys, we have to normalize checkups. Have your checkups regularly as you can. And some doctors would say, let's say, for example, the Netherlands, for me, when I have my checkup, and soon I'm going to have my checkup, whenever I have it, they will say there's no such thing, or for some, they will say there's no such thing as a yearly checkup. When you are sick, you go to the doctor, you go see your doctor. But you got to say, F that. Just like Donald Trump was saying, you know, giving the middle finger, or saying, F that, you know, I don't give a damn. This is your body. You wanna, you know, you're paying for your insurance. Might put it to good use. And even if you don't, even if you don't want to do it, just do it for your mental peace. May I ask you, let's being checked? May I ask you, let being checked? I don't understand the question. So normalize your checkup. So once a year or twice a year, even better. So do your blood work, you know, do your blood work, you know, test your organs, you know, be ready to pay the money so you can find out. Because when you find out if something is wrong, then you can address it early, then wait when it becomes a bigger issue. Just like, you know, if you'll be driving your car and there's something wrong with your car, if you know, you want to address the situation, you want to fix it so the problem doesn't, you know, become a situation where it's too much to handle. So, and it's not about seeing it from a standpoint of weakness, but when you address your health, it comes in a situation where you are more strong, because it gives you that sense of clarity. What do you check? Full body checkup once a year is great. Yeah, full body checkup. That's what I do. That's what you got to do. Full body checkup. And, you know, full body checkup. Don't be afraid to get your blood drawn so you can have it analyzed to make sure, okay, everything is, you know, everything is fine. And listen to your body, of course. Listen to your body. Listening to your body is not only a woman thing. You have a body too, and you can listen to it. So you know what you're feeling, you know how you feel. So when you know something is not right, you just gotta go and talk to your doctor. You know, it's just gotta go and make sure that you are having you are getting your money's worth, even if you don't have insurance. And you can still, yeah, full blood test. Even if you don't have insurance, you can still manage to do your, you know, your checkup. What does it mean? Full body checkup. Oh, okay. You see, Chris, that's what I mean. In the Netherlands, we don't have full body checkups. We don't really check if you're lacking anything. Yeah, there's no such thing. What does it include? If you need any scans, yeah, there's no such thing, because in some countries there's no such thing that's as full body checkup. But just think of it like this: when you have your car, or when you have your car, there's yearly maintenance, right? There are private companies, yes, but and there are private companies, some companies. But even for me, I remember the first time I even asked my doctor verbatimly, like word for word, do you guys have yearly checkup? They're like, no, there's like, maybe they were lying to me, but they don't have a system of yearly checkup. When you're sick, you feel something, you go to the doctor. Yeah, pre-scan in the Netherlands. Pre-scan, this is a, what do you mean? Pre-scan is a private clinic, you mean? Pre-scan. Oh, private scan. Oh, okay. Yeah, but okay. No, the health system doesn't work like that. Health insurance only cover with diagnose code. Yeah, exactly. And that's in the Netherlands. Maybe when you are in your 60s, you get full checkup. Yeah, when you are in yes, when you're in the 60s, you can get full checkup, or you can pay for it. This is the thing. You can pay for it because there are loopholes. There are ways you can pay for it out of your own pocket. That's the thing. And what's paying for it once or two times in a year, you know? So, you know, you can do full blood tests that check different things in your body. You can check your internal organs, and you know, you can check your blood pressure. Always check your blood pressure. You can check your, you know, your heart health, your lungs. You know, you can do all of this checkup. And guess what? This doesn't take that long. I still struggle with my health, and my doctor is pretty clueless. Yeah, maybe you need to switch your doctor. Yeah, I used to tell doctors I need a full body MOT. Yeah. Full body analysis. This is something I want to do as well as cupping. Go to the TCM doctor. Yeah, that's what you can do, because even my doctor was also telling me this, that I think they send me a specific doctor that facility that I can go to. Full body MRI, it really depends, because again, there are some things that you don't really need, but again, you have to just listen to your body, what your body need. But when it comes to your internal organs, you can test them. There's ways that you can test them to find out how are they. Basically, it gives you a peace of mind. So, and a lot of the time, you don't have to lay down inside. Can I say which company I go to? But you can check here, see what Ava said. What's up, Antonio? So, also, ladies, create a space for men. A lot of the time, ladies, you have to try to your best to create a space for men. Hello, Antonio. A friend, a partner, a family member, listen without judgment. If a man does open up, listen without judgment, because I do understand a lot of the time it can be very, very stressful, because you'll be like, why don't you just do it? Why are you so afraid? The wrong word to use. Oh, why? Like, what's the big, you know, what's the hold up? Whatever this situation, try your best to not judge. And you can, yeah, because if you judge him, one thing is for sure, that you're teaching your man or your brother or your uncle or your father or your son, you're teaching them that you are not a safe place for them. And I do understand you would say, well, they have to be strong, they have to masculine. Yeah, but they also have to be smart. They also have to protect their feelings from not being hurt. They also have to protect their vulnerability. They don't want to be vulnerable because all the time, sometimes they see vulnerability equals to weakness. So sometimes a lot of men see it as this black and white. Actually, my mom discovered a tumor with pre-scan. Yeah, pre-scan is not necessary. TCM. Okay. Do you get it now? Pre-scan Netherlands. But again, you have to probably pay for it yourself. Men don't talk about health issues, but I will argue for hours about protein powder brands. Yeah, exactly what I mean, Antonio. We don't talk about our health issues, but we'll talk about protein powder. We'll talk about amino acid, pre-workout. What else? Beer. We'll talk about liquor and all of these things. But when it comes to our health issues, it's like, huh? Who has health issues? They protect me, I will care for them as well. Exactly what I mean. Funny how vulnerability is seen as weakness when it's actually a brave move. Yeah, a bravest move. That's true. Because it is a bravest move. Football, it is truly a bravest move to to take care of yourself, because you will have it will give you fully self-confident. It's all about active listening, which is a lot of women need to do. It's with their males in their lives. True, it is about active listening and not try to fix them. Because don't minimize his concerns or jump immediately to fix it. That's the thing. Create a safe space for him, because I can imagine if whenever you have a man in your life, you want him to feel safe, just like you want to feel safe with him. If you don't, you should. I mean, that would be, feeling safe is a human desire. It's a human desire. You want to feel safe with the people that we have in our close circle, because it will make, if you have to be in a situation where you always have to be looking over your shoulders, that's not feeling safe. And the chance of you opening up or feel trusted is gonna be very, very low. So if you're gonna be dealing with, it's better that you just don't judge and just let him open up. And again, I already told you what you could do. So normalize checking up, and if you're gonna talk about it, make it action oriented, such as use the maintenance mindset. You maintain different things. You maintain your house, you maintain your car, there's maintenance, but also he has to maintain his body. There's also optimization. Optimize your body. It's not only about physical health, getting buff, getting muscular, but it's also about thank you, Sam. See you next time. But it's also about, optimizing your health from the inside out. But the bottom line is, men's reluctance to talk about health is a learned behavior that is reinforced by culture. It is not an inherent trait. It's not that men just basically don't want to talk about their health. It's not because they are men. It is not that. It is more that the culture doesn't really promote it. The culture doesn't make it seem as a safe place. The culture see it, when men are talking about their health, they are seen weak, they are seen vulnerable, they are seen soft. They are seen everything that is against the image that they're trying to hold up as a man. So now, changing it requires challenging deep-seated norm about masculinity. That's one. and creating environment where vulnerability is seen as human and not unmanly. Vulnerability is a human thing. It's not an unmanly thing. All right, guys, like and follow, y'all. Like and follow. So anybody have something they want to say about this? Anything here? Like and follow, y'all. Everybody have anything to say? Because I have one more item. Maybe men stay silent because they don't know how to open up, but now even AI can listen without judgment. Yeah. But again, an AI, I mean, you would want to be able to talk to your woman and not be judged and not be pushed off without bias. The barrier is thinner than ever. Yeah, okay. What's up? How was your day been? My day's been good. How about you, bro? How's your day? Any guys, all the men, you guys want to come up to challenge this topic? Why men don't talk about health issues? I'd like to hear from you guys if you want to. Let's see. But in the meantime, hello. In the meantime, I have. Did you guys know there's a boy? There's a boy. This happened just recently. His genes. This is basically the first gene editing or gene change that has been happening. So a boy with a very unusual condition amazed doctors after the world first gene therapy, meaning that they changed his gene, the first ever in this world. Let me see. You can talk about health with your doctor, your coach, your grandma, or on WhatsApp or on AI. Yeah, you can always do that. How was basketball? Basketball was great. Well, my toes are like, whew. Silent isn't masculinity anymore. It's just outdated. Exactly. Being silent and not being, and what is updated, the new update is to find your way to talk about the situation that is affecting you. That is the new update as men that we need to, we need to update in ourselves. That is the new update. Because it is strong. It is a strong man situation. You are a strong man when you are able to talk about the things that are affecting you. So now let me see this boy, the world's first gene editing, which is a success. And why is this important? Since we're talking about men's health, this is why this is important, because this is the first it happening to a boy. And why this is important also is because men are the only one who can have this issue that they're gonna be presenting. And it's essential to have all today. Yeah.
Boy from California with a rare debilitating condition has become the first person in the world to be treated with a gene therapy developed in Manchester. Ollie Chu has Hunter syndrome, which causes progressive damage throughout the body.
Hunter syndrome. So Hunter syndrome is something that boys deal with. So what it does, it breaks down their body, but symptoms like coarse facial features, enlarged liver or spleen, hearing loss, skeletal issues, heart problems, and also respiratory issues. So imagine you have a child, this child is born with this situation, their lives from a very young age is being affected. So this is why this is important. And they have found a therapeutic way to overcome it.
Our medical editor, Fergus Walsh, has his story.
This is a story of hope.
The future for Ollie seems very bright, and hopefully this means
more kids will get the treatment, and the future will be bright for them.
How science is taking on a brutal inherited disease.
We're so happy, so pleased with his progress. His results are amazing.
And what the new treatment means to those affected.
It's really amazing how this treatment had achieved, and how he is so
Okay, I'm
different
gonna
now.
play just a bit of it, not all. But let's see. We already talked about pre-scan. Okay.
Than before.
Oliver, just check your temperature. Thank you, that's a good boy.
Oliver has Hunter syndrome, also called MPS II. A faulty gene means he can't produce a crucial enzyme. This means chemicals build up in cells, causing progressive damage throughout the body. Usually only boys are affected by this rare inherited condition.
Boys, when they're born, usually look really well and healthy. But gradually over time, those chemicals build up and they gradually cause each part of our body, our bones, joints, brain, our airways to become more and more diseased. Usually wheelchairs are required by the end of the first decade. The average survival was in the teenage years.
It's
So,
December
Average
2024.
survival
Oliver
is
has flown
so
with
basically they live up until their teenage years with this condition.
his dad from California to Royal Manchester Children's Hospital
But no more.
for the start of a groundbreaking medical trial.
And everything's a race against time for us. At the end of the day, we just want the kids to be, healthy and have a more normal lifestyle than they have right now.
Oliver is having his blood filtered to remove stem cells. These special cells are going to be tweaked, genetically altered in the lab. So these are Oliver's stem cells. It's taken just over 3 hours to collect them, but this is just the first stage. Oliver's cells are transferred to labs at London's Great Ormond Street Hospital.
Hi, Maybach.
Scientists use a harmless virus to insert a working copy of the faulty gene into each of Ollie's stem cells. The gene gives instructions to the cells to start producing the missing enzyme.
Okay, let's see this enzyme. Oh,
Which should get to all parts of the body, including the brain, with the aim of halting further physical and neurological damage. It's February, and Oliver is back in Manchester, this time with his mum.
We have to get bag one first.
His genetically altered stem cells are here too. Deep frozen, the cells are slowly brought to body temperature.
Hello. Starting now.
And this is the big moment. The infusion of the gene therapy. Oliver is the first child in the world to be given this one-off treatment to combat Hunter syndrome.
That's us done.
Researchers at the University of Manchester and clinicians have spent 15 years developing the gene therapy.
So having an effective treatment that deals with all aspects of Hunter syndrome would be utterly life transforming for families. It would mean moving from a constant life of medical interventions and slow decline and an early death to a life where there's hope.
yeah, that's awesome. So these kids who have Hunter syndrome, they normally pass away. They have a very short life, and it's mostly a situation, an illness that most boys deal with. And I think it's it is promising. It is promising. So it's first, there's a lot of boys that can go through this situation, this therapy, this gene editing therapy, and that can prolong their lives, and hopefully they can no longer have to deal with the Hunter syndrome that they are dealing with. What do you guys think about it? I think it's a really good thing that science is really helping us to live, you know, making situations that were impossible possible. All right, guys, like and follow. Let's see. How's my thoughts on, what thoughts do you have on this? What's up, my thoughts on? All right, guys, let's